4 most common types of consumer cars. What is up, guys? It's Nick again here in Car Simplified, and here we make cars simple. So today we'll be talking about these 4 common types. You see these by consumers, common people like us. And we will not be talking about those specialized vehicles, or we won't be talking about those military types. We'll just be talking about consumer cars. So we actually have a lot of types of consumer cars. Like you have coupes, you have limousines, you have fastbacks. There are a lot of types really, and today we'll just be talking about the 4 most common types that you see on the road. So I must include that one of the 4 most common types is an MPV. However, the other 4 that I'll be talking about are more common than MPVs. So we'll just be talking about the basics for now, and MPVs will be on another video. These 4 common types can be divided into 2 categories, right? So you have 2 car types that share similar platform, and other 2 car types that share also another platform. So these are 2 platforms. And what platforms are these? So you have unibody and you have body on frame construction. Now I'll get there in a bit and I'll explain more in depth in another video. But essentially, unibody is basically, as the name suggests, one body. It's basically molded into one whole body. There's no separate frame or separate chassis. While body on frame, on the other hand, as the name suggests, it has a frame and body on top. So we'll start off with unibody because this is more common in consumer cars today. So unibodies are essentially being used more often than body on frames in today's day and age. Back then, body on frame was king. But now unibody has essentially taken over the market, and almost all consumer cars today are unibody. And more has been coming out recently as unibody construction vehicles. So what are these 2 types of unibody vehicles? We have sedans and crossovers, right? And on body on frame vehicles, we have pickup trucks and SUVs. So a lot of people get confused with SUVs and crossovers. So this category or separation will help us later on. So what are sedans? Sedans by definition are 3-box design vehicles. As we know it, sedans are one of the earliest designs of automobiles since they were inspired by those horse-drawn carriages back in the days. So to categorize the sedan, by definition, it essentially is a vehicle with 3 main parts. The first being the engine bay or the hood, and then the second being the body or the cabin of the vehicle, and the third being the trunk. So it's a 3-box design. You essentially draw 3 boxes in order to define a sedan. So what are examples of sedans? We have the Toyota Vios, the Toyota Camry, the Honda City, the Honda Civic, you have the Subaru WRX, you have the Mitsubishi Mirage. Although the Mirage also has a hatchback type, same as the City, they also have a hatchback type. But hatchbacks we'll discuss in another video, since we can discuss MPVs and hatchbacks in another video. But for now, we will be talking about sedans and crossovers as well as SUVs and pickups. So essentially, sedans are the most common types of cars. This is what other people define what cars are. Basically, a sedan. Now that's what we are all accustomed to. And back then, sedans used to rule the roads. But now, more and more SUVs and crossovers are coming out because people like bigger. So now that we have sedans defined, we will now be defining what pickup trucks are. Essentially, pickup trucks are body-on-frame vehicles which were derived from trucks back in the day. That's the reason why they're called pickup trucks. So essentially, what defines a pickup truck, or more commonly referred today as the truck, is essentially you have a cab or the cabin, and you have the bed. So you have a cab and a bed. So usually trucks can be seen as single cab or dual cab, but in Asian countries it's more common to see dual cabs and very rare to see single cabs, since in Asian countries we are more family oriented. So we want to have more capacity, more seating capacity. So you rarely see single cabs. So pickup trucks by nature are essentially rigid. They're strong, they're durable, and they're usually off-road capable, even though they're just rear-wheel drive, right? So with this, you can essentially call the pickup truck the complete opposite of a sedan, because your sedans are unibodies and they're very, very fragile. However, this comes with an advantage because having a body that crumbles easily can actually absorb the impact during a crash, therefore making it safer for its passengers. So what are examples of pickup trucks? We all know the Toyota Hilux, the Ford Ranger, the Ford F-150, the Mitsubishi Strada, the Mazda BT-50. These are all pickup trucks, and truth is, in 2023, more and more people are buying pickup trucks compared to SUVs and crossovers because they see that these pickup trucks are essentially more utilitarian, more useful, and these have more function. And especially now in 2023, with the trend of families being just a single kid or probably two kids, essentially everything you're looking for is in a pickup truck. You have 5 seats and you have a huge bed. It's basically the perfect vehicle if you're not having difficulty with driving large vehicles. So compared to the sedan where you have the 3-box layout and you have a very small trunk, the pickup truck's bed can be very functional and very useful if you're just a family of 5. This is why the pickup truck has become more common in today's day and age, and a lot of people are essentially just getting a pickup truck and just putting up a canopy on the back and essentially turning it into an SUV, and this is what we'll be defining in just a bit. So why did I explain sedans and pickup trucks first? Because essentially crossovers and SUVs are based on either one of them. Remember how I mentioned earlier you have 2 categories, unibody and body on frame? So essentially the sedan on the unibody end and the pickup truck on the body on frame end, basically the difference between a crossover and an SUV is what is it inspired by. So crossovers are built and based on the platform of sedans, while SUVs are built and based on the platform of pickup trucks. It's that simple. So basically, what are examples of crossovers? You have the Ford EcoSport, which is based on the Ford Fiesta. Although the Ford Fiesta is technically a hatchback, technically it's still in the category of sedans. Then you have the Yaris Cross, which is essentially the crossover version of the Yaris. The Corolla Cross, which is the crossover version of the Corolla. You even have the Mustang Mach-E, which is the crossover version of the Mustang. So basically, crossovers are just basically built on the platform of sedans and basically lifted, bigger. So basically, it's like you have an SUV and a sedan in one package. Now SUVs, if you ever noticed, SUVs always come released with a pair. They're always in tandem with a pickup truck. So your Ford Ranger, you have your Ford Everest. Your Ford F-150, you have a Ford Expedition. Your Toyota Hilux, you have your Toyota Fortuner. You have your Mitsubishi Montero, you have your Mitsubishi Strada. Essentially, to every SUV, you have its pickup truck counterpart, or vice versa. However, this isn't always the case, since there are other SUVs that doesn't have a partner, but essentially, the thought still remains the same. Essentially, an SUV is an extended pickup truck. That pickup truck bed is now gone and made into a cabin. So now that entire SUV is basically just a pickup truck that's extended. So when you have a pickup truck and you install a canopy on the back, or other people call it Carry Boy, but Carry Boy is a brand, you're essentially recreating the very first version of an SUV. And in the early days, one of the most common versions of the SUV was the Ford Expedition, which was based again on the Ford F-150. People built Ford F-150s and they extended the back. They placed a canopy on the back, and people started wanting more of that. So essentially, the Ford Expedition was born. So I know this video has been running for so long, but I still have a lot to discuss. So I'll be separating this in other videos. So essentially, just to summarize, sedan and crossovers are on the unibody side, and SUVs and pickup trucks are on the body on frame side. Essentially, a crossover is inspired by sedans, and SUVs are inspired by pickup trucks. Basically, always a tandem, and hence why I divided this video into basically 2 categories and 4 types of vehicles. That's your sedan, crossover, pickup truck, and SUV. Like for more.